Would you talk to the doctor? Welcome to another episode of Talk to the Doctor. And you know what? I'm here today with Blair Conklin, pro skimboarder extraordinaire, and a man who loves about every kind of water sport you can name. And I want to welcome him to my show.
Yeah, KV, thanks for having me, bro.
So stoked to have you in here. And like I want to make sure people know is that sometimes people come in that I've known either their whole life or more, since Jesus Christ walked the earth. And then other times I have the unique opportunity to sit with a man that I didn't meet until we were on camera.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that's pretty cool in its own way too. So once again, you don't know me, but you came anyway. And I got to say, well, hope it works out for you.
Thanks.
No.
I think but the third friend that told me to come stop by.
Oh, that's really cool.
And everyone was speaking very, very highly of you. So
you know
I'm
what?
like, well, too many people have told me that I need to drop by, and I've seen some of your stuff and saw the podcast with Bill Bryan. He's been my hero since I was a little guy. So it was pretty fun to watch him talk with you.
Oh my gosh, that was an amazing experience for me.
Yeah.
Just so you know. I've known him for quite some time. I wouldn't say we were, like tight, like best friends, but we totally knew who each other was, seen each other around, and always had a cool vibe. But when be careful what you wish for, mister.
Yeah.
Because it was like, wow, he came in and it was a totally animated, amped, incredible experience for me in every way, shape, and form. And you know what? He brought you up a lot, and he brought up he's just so classic. He loves everybody. He's amazing. Yeah, and so with that said, here we are with the opportunity to kind of reverse engineer that.
Yeah. No.
So sure. I would say, where did it all start for you? Like at what age were you when you first saw someone skimboarding and went, I want to try that?
Yeah. Yeah, growing up in South Laguna, I think the first person I saw skimboard was Bill, or at least the first person I remember skimboarding was him. And
and you were how old at that time?
I was probably 4 or 5, and it was like maybe one of the earliest memories I have that stuck with me. And
at what beach was that at? Was that at
Aliso?
That
was at Taloa Beach, my home spot, which is like a super small little cove.
Like Victoria somewhere?
It's a little south of there, a little south of Aliso.
I can't tell you where we have to shoot you.
Yeah, yeah, it's a pretty cool little zone.
Cool.
But yeah, I think Bill was literally just going from one beach to the other and just floating on water like Jesus. And
totally.
And I think I was just mesmerized as a young kid, like, what the heck is this? And how do you do that? And
especially like he does it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he was like the first skimboarder to actually like surf a wave on a skimboard, and also he was insane at snowboarding, insane at surfing, insane at pretty much any other sport that he put his feet on, or any other board he put his feet on. So yeah, he played a big role in me getting started in skimboarding. And I was dragging my parents to the beach from 5 years old onward every day pretty much, and barely out of diapers, and I was
already on one.
I was riding a wooden skimboard, and
a wooden one,
and down at the beach as much as I could. I loved it. Yeah.
So do you remember the first one you actually, like your first skimboard? Do you remember anything about, like, it was wood or what brand? Or?
I think my very first skimboard was a wooden Victoria, like kind of the standard what everyone starts out on. Probably the worst thing to start out on, but like when you're 5 years old, you can at least slide on the sand and hopefully not end up in a shorebreak wave. So yeah, I see people trying to ride the wooden skimboards these days, and I'm like, oof, that's not how you should learn, like you're making it's already hard enough. You don't need to make it harder for yourself. And
oh my gosh, yes.
It's a good entry point into it, where like, okay, you can get a wooden skimboard for maybe a little over $100, and it's great. It's way more affordable than most sports you can start.
Yeah, that's true.
And but then a lot of people end up hurting themselves because they're riding one, and then they're bummed and get turned away from it. So
well, that might be a good thing too.
Yeah, maybe so.
I don't know. I'm just saying, like, let me ask you this: like, so what would be the highest level? So we're talking about the base camp, right? We're talking about like metal wheels for skateboarding.
Yeah,
which is way before your time, but still,
or clay wheels too.
Clay wheels, yeah. And then, but then let's push forward. What's the best material for a skimboard that, as a high performance skimboarder, I'm pretty sure I'm talking to the best skimboarder in the world right now.
Yeah, well,
I'm not trying to say you're going to say that, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to say it.
I mean, I'm up there. There's not that many of us, but I'm up there amongst the few.
Okay.
But yeah, I think everyone who, like all the best skimboarders these days are riding carbon fiber skimboards maybe 1 or 2 layers of carbon fiber wrapped around high density foam, and they're vacuum sealed. So the way that they make skimboards came from an aerospace background, or like the guy who really, I think first guy who started making carbon fiber skimboards, he was building planes professionally. And
was he from Laguna?
Yeah. I'm not so sure if he was from Laguna, but
he was
ended up there ended up building the best skimboards. And
so his day job was building planes.
Yep, and he still does.
Oh my God.
He builds planes for like Harrison. What's the guy
Ford?
in Star Wars? Yeah, Harrison Ford. Like
Ford.
Literally the actor who now flies planes.
Builds
Harrison
planes.
Ford.
Yeah, you know, one of the people I built planes for, Harrison Ford.
Yep.
Yeah.
And on the side job,
what a terrible job.
He builds a skimboard here and there.
Oh my gosh, he's just like, yeah. So that you guys get the benefit of some, because I heard that when Laird and those guys were working on the foil, that they were getting, you know, designs from people that build either jets or spaceships or something. I was just going, whoa, okay.
I bet you foils are all probably carbon based too.
I think they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So skimboards now, the highest level you can get is a carbon based, carbon
wrapped
over foam.
Yep. Vacuum sealed and epoxy,
just packed, stacked, and wrapped.
Yeah.
And then, you know, just for fun, you said you could get a wood one for around 100.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's one of these high-end spaceship ones cost?
I think the carbon ones are close to 600, so almost a surfboard, you know?
Yeah.
And they are costly, like when it comes to the materials and everything. They're going to last you a lot longer than any surfboard you've ever had. Can guarantee that. Like
Sick.
These things are kind of indestructible. You'd have to like shoot it into a rock real fast to like break it. I've broken maybe 3 skimboards in my entire career, and like snapping a skimboard in half is like an accomplishment. Like it's hard to do.
Okay.
You're going to get snapped in half
before it does.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know much about skimboarding, but the cool thing is I'm learning a lot today.
Yeah.
And I think it's really cool because I was telling you earlier, I tried it a couple times in my life and I just can't. I can't do it.
Yep.
I can do a lot of things, but for some reason I can't do that.
That's
you know, and the other one is super just whoa. I can't jump rope. I can't jump rope. I mean, I'm a super coordinated guy. I do tons of sports and I'm pretty whatever.
Look pretty fit. You look
thank
pretty
you.
fit. Yeah.
I do pretty well.
Looking pretty good for 60. What is it? 61? Dang.
Yeah. So thank you.
Looking good.
Thank you. Yeah. But the thing is, I can't jump rope and I can't skimboard.
Yep.
Okay, but I'm okay with it.
I can't ice skate.
You can't ice skate.
Can't do it, dude. It's one of those things that like I'm not even gonna try to learn. Like, don't even want to. It's scary.
Yeah, me too. Those blades.
Yeah. Too much going on.
Anything
where their feet are separate and can go different directions doesn't work for me.
I'm the same.
Doesn't work.
I can't. I grew up on this. Initially what was first? Oh, skateboarding first.
Yeah.
I mean, I was in my back, you know, earlier when I'm older, when I body surfed since I was like 3 till I was 8. And then I got what was called, it was before boogie boards. It was called a belly board.
Yeah.
All right. And it was, I got it at Dewey Weber's shop in
Hermosa
way. Beach. Yeah.
They made skimboards, those guys.
Yeah. They made like he was a rad dude and he had this beautiful shop right at Coast Highway. And right down there by the water in Hermosa. And then, but it was because the surfboards were 10 feet long.
Yeah.
It was the mid 60s. Yeah. And it's like, you didn't really do that when you were Grom.
Yeah.
You know, so you body surfed or you belly boarded maybe.
Yeah.
And that was fun.
Or skimboarded.
Like I was getting, you could have skimboarded. I never saw it until I was older. Yeah. But until I came down south and I saw it in Laguna Beach. I didn't see that in Manhattan Beach.
Yeah.
Or Hermosa, South Bay. I didn't see that.
Yeah, there's not.
I don't think that was set up in such a way where anyway, so then I did that for a few years and got barreled that way. It was really fun. And then I got a knee board at David Nueva's the dyno shop, David Nueva Surfboards in Huntington.
Okay.
And I got a knee board, which was kind of a cool trip for a while because how barreled you could get.
Oh yeah.
God, you could get so barreled. It felt like you're like in the wave. Like, so the trajectory between like body surfing, which I still love to this day. I just love body surfing.
Nice.
I love the purity of and then the belly boarding, pre-boogie boarding, no boogie board. I think we jumped on those mats. They're kind of before your time too. The mats.
Inflatables.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So fun when you're Grom. Anyway, then, but then I got the knee board. But the thing about the knee boarding was,
your knees hurt? No.
yeah, you get used to that. You can't jump off.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the cool thing about surfing is you can pogo off, you can jump off, whatever you want to do, right? You're on a knee board, you're getting barreled, you're just cooked.
And they had like channels for your knees, so you're extra locked.
You're kind of in.
Yeah.
And like
I kind of know knee boarding.
When you want to bail,
yeah,
there's nowhere to go. You can't jump from your knees.
Yeah.
Your knees don't jump, so you're like you just get compressed, right?
Yeah.
So then I got my first surfboard here. And the rest is history. But yeah, to have that trajectory through, and then I was always going to Hawaii. So I really like that thing of like, okay, I started here, but I love water sports, and I went to here. So
yeah,
you had and then I did everything, skateboard, surf, and snowboard, and I never tried water skiing. It doesn't appeal to me. I tried skiing. I can't do the two thing.
Yeah.
It's going different directions. It doesn't interest me. I like that back foot, this, right?
Yeah.
So anything like skate, roller, all that. A quick interruption of the show. Question of the week. Who's got the best air game right now? Could be someone on tour, could be your neighbor, could be a dude on the moon. I don't know. Let us know in the comments, and let's get back to the show.
Maybe one or two exceptions to people who are really good on boards, but then also can like rollerblade or roller skate. And Tom Curran is like one of the perfect examples of that, where like
he's good on that too.
He's good at roller skating or something.
I think I saw that.
Yeah, he like literally that's how he like warms up to go surf or something.
My God.
There's some funny footage out there.
Oh my God.
Tom Curran on roller skates. Pretty classic.
I think I've seen it.
Yeah. And he says it like helps his hips because it's a different range.
Release.
Yeah.
So. And then he's gonna come on. He's gonna come on the show, and I know him.
That's awesome.
No, we haven't got Tom to say yes yet. But the guy, I want that.
Yeah.
Of course, it'd be insane. But he's an interesting. He would probably be the opposite of a Beaker.
Yeah. Oh,
right.
Totally.
He's such an eccentric. But his name is escaping me right now. But thinking of someone who does a lot of stuff, and he's gonna come on the show.
Chuck.
That's
okay. Oh
Alex,
yeah. I just saw Chuck 2 days ago. That's funny. I kind of know Chuck through I see him at Wedge every once in a while, and he was a guy who skied. He towed in, skied maybe Chopu, Maverick, something. He all over the place. Yeah.
I'm seeing the footage going. What's that all about?
Yeah.
But it's just like he's like
that's
almost like an evil Knievel of action. Weird. Just like but it doesn't look that practical to me. And the fact that it didn't even float, you're like.
Yeah.
But there's the guy. There's a great example of a guy who can, obviously, do the flow. And he does all kinds of everything.
I think so.
I think he does. I mean, I know he surfs, but that's not what he's actually known for, even though he probably surfs good at Creek or whatever, wherever, but he definitely got a name for himself. I think a lot through stand-up.
Yeah.
And then through maybe foil.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. And then he built that name, and then he seemed to, you're like, he's riding water skis. Or was it water skis? Or
I think
water
it was
skis.
water skis, yeah.
At Chopu.
Yeah, the guy's an animal.
So there's a guy that could do that.
Yeah, for sure.
Because he could do it like that?
Yeah.
Okay, Chuck. Wow. But so anyway, back to your story. So you're at a certain age and you were digging it. You were totally clicking into, you had the wood Victoria skimboard, your first one. Yep. You were local. You were kind of inspired by Bill. And I want to say probably, name me some names of the guys back then that initially inspired you.
I think that there was like a couple skimboarding movies that came out when I was pretty young that were like revolutionary at the time. And the best ones were Bearded was one of the names of the skimboarding films, and Stimulus.
Okay.
And they were both made by this Exile Skimboards company, and it made skimboarding look like it's never looked before. They were shooting it with really nice cameras. It made the sport look really fast and also very surfy, where they were spending a lot of time at Wedge and shooting Wedge, and then going down to Cabo San Lucas and shooting big waves down there. And so it just made the sport look super, super cool, you know, and
totally
that the characters in those films were probably like the guys that I looked up to the most other than Bill. And there's a guy named Paulo Prieto, Grady Archibald, just to name a few, but they were all like riding wedge and charging big waves on a skimboard, and it was just like revolutionary at the time.
In Cabo, I was down there one year. It was like over 30 years ago, but we surfed this wave, you know, a few times. But Monuments?
Okay, yeah.
Is that a skimboardable wave?
No, it's super rocky there.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of rock, a lot of urchins.
It would help if there's sand.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
we kind of need some sand. But right around the corner from that is, like right out by the arch is Lovers Beach. That's one of the best skimboarding waves down there.
Oh, cool.
And then Lovers and Solmar, two massive Shorebreak waves.
Yeah, okay.
Yep, and they're like bunch of hotels on Solmar Beach, and basically they don't let visitors like out on the beach because there's been so many people that are
swept away.
Yeah. Just like
it's at the tip of the whole deal. So,
deepest. It's like the deepest drop off.
4 feet later, it's like
it's nuts. It's
and
like,
tourists don't know. They're just like, honey, it's really pretty out here. And you're like, well, where'd it go?
Yeah, you see one wave every 30 minutes, and like you get the
swept over. Yeah,
wow. That place is super dangerous.
But it's a good spot to skimboard.
Amazing for skimboarding. And amazing if you're a shorebreak enthusiast. Like the most beautiful shorebreak you'll see in your life. It's crystal clear water, warm Cabo sun, and it's the best. It's just
I love this terminology. Oh my God, this is great.
Yeah.
If you're a shorebreak enthusiast.
It's just, if you like to shore break yourself, Cabo's the place to go. It really is.
Oh man, that's really
fun.
funny. I don't think I've ever heard that term. Yeah. It just seems very fitting for skimboarding because you're a shore. It's like I heard one time someone say we were Groms and we were busboys, and someone said, you know, they were like talking to a girl or something. They wanted to not sound like a busboy. And they go, she said, what do you do? He goes, I'm a tabletop technician.
Yeah.
And you're just like, wow, really? I remember when I heard that, I went, whoa, that's what we do? Yeah. Oh, I didn't even realize that. But that's really cool how to kind of say that. It really does. Yeah. And then like shorebreak enthusiast.
Yeah.
That's really is what it is at the end of the day, right?
I mean,
because it's a certain thing when you're on the sand.
Certain people like.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know,
we don't understand it. I remember when we were growing up at the pier and we had a couple of this guy, Football Fred, and a couple other guys that fully were into skimboarding.
Yeah.
So the guy, Mel, okay. And we were like paddling out going, what's happening here? You know, but they were kind of ripping, but it always seemed so short lived. I was like, well, I need a little length. Yeah. But then what happened to me was then I would, you know, be in Laguna, or then I saw what was going on at the wedge, and it's like, it's kind of transformational.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think nowadays too, with how many people are surfing, especially in California or anywhere, it's like you can go find your own wave as a skimboarder on any given day in Laguna and catch 100 waves in an hour and not have to battle anyone. So it's like, sure, they might be short rides, but if you get 100 of them, then you're stoked. You know, the ride time probably adds up to about the same, you know? And that's why I like shorebreak so much. Like I go to the go to the North Shore, and then I'm watching everyone surf pipe, and there's 100,000 people out, and I'm like, I'm going to Keiki, and I'm just going to go over the falls and die and have a good time. Like I go down to Keiki more than anywhere on the North Shore, because it's like sometimes it's surfable, sometimes it's skimmable.
Oh my gosh.
But you're pretty much guaranteed there's only going to be a couple people out.
I never even thought about that part. It's amazing. Once again, you know, I get to come on my show and learn things about things and meet people and just expand my brain, right?
Yeah.
And that is totally expansive, because I never really did totally understand it, to be honest.
Yeah.
But now I kind of starting to get like, oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I mean,
I missed the boat, but I just stump my can't. I break my ankle every time I try.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
insane.
But that's how it goes for most, man. You gotta learn when you're like young. 5 and under.
Yeah.
No,
that makes sense.
You can learn when you're older than that, but I think when you're young and close to the ground, falling on the sand is a little bit easier on the body.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
I'm a sprinter.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Yeah. But I'm going to run fast and I'm going to hit the sand real hard.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like, just didn't appeal to me.
Yeah.
But thankfully, because that less people with you guys. You
exactly.
know, that's what I think I'm picking up here. It's not a crowded gig.
No, I mean, I don't think it ever will be, because it's so difficult to do, you know? So, we are pretty lucky, and like, it's a very tight knit community, and I pretty much know every skimboarder in Laguna. Like if they are going down to the beach semi often, like I know who they are.
Yeah, and it's a brotherhood.
And you like respect that they're getting better at it because you know how hard it is to get good at. So totally. it is kind of cool to like get to know people who are like down there putting in the work and getting worked, and then they eventually like get over the hump and you're like, damn, you made it.
Yeah, because
like,
most people don't. They don't survive. I mean, they survive, but they don't survive the sport.
Exactly.
You know, I'm just in this moment realizing, you know, in the sense of where you see like with surfing, then there's, you know, men surfing, then there's women surfing, which is kind of, you know, I mean, it's been around for a long time, but it just keeps emerging to the point where you're going, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Like right now from our town, we have Sawyer Lindblad.
Oh, yeah.
And she's just made the final in New Zealand. And but I'm just going to, does your sport have, do girls do that?
Yes, there's some female participation. It's very uneven, unfortunately, where like there's a lot more guys that are doing it than there are females. But there's a couple really good females right now coming out of Mexico and Brazil.
Wow.
So the sport is growing, but it seems to be growing more in those places than around here. I think the East Coast has some good female skimboarders as well. But it's skimboarding's already small, and there's like
2 of them. You know,
yeah,
there's a few.
Yeah,
seems like it'd be pretty tough. Like, you know, like I just feel like on their skin when they do fall, it just seems like it would be like
it beats everyone up, you know. And I think
exactly.
like it's I think also there's with females you have to have like a group of girls that are doing it to bring up the next group of girls, right? And there's like 2. There's literally 2, and one of them's in Mexico and one of them's in Brazil. Yeah. And then there's maybe a couple here, and it's like there's no like you don't go down to the beach and see like 3 girls skimming ever.
That's kind of what I was
you go out to trestles and there's like, you know, a
lot of girls surfing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which makes sense. I mean, it's so fun, you know.
And I think we need more of that in
I would think,
skimboarding.
you know, it just kind of dawned on me.
Yeah.
When would you say was the first time that you went from like just a Grom, loving to skimboard, to all of a sudden went, you know, like jumped in a contest? Or when did it switch to like from like, I do this for fun, but then all of a sudden, wait a second here.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was always like not encouraged to do skimboarding as a living for me. Like my parents, my parents were like, you know, there's not a whole lot of good examples out there of people that have made it in the skimboarding career path. And so I never thought of it as like, oh, I'm going to go all in with skimboarding. Like I went to college, studied environmental science, and was this close to getting an office job as an environmental consultant. And like, I really just decided I didn't want to go straight from school to a job. I wanted to go travel, and that ended up turning into me just skimboarding and traveling and filming it and making a YouTube channel. And then that snowballed into like, oh, I can actually afford to live in California, and I can do this full time.
What an amazing path to go to college. Where'd you go to college?
Berkeley, up in the Bay Area. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It was an amazing experience. I'm so glad I got out of Laguna.
Yeah,
just widened my horizons significantly, and I met some of the best people I know to this day. I met at school up there, and had some incredible teachers that I still stay in touch with and stuff. And yeah, I think that the surroundings that I had at Berkeley were unlike anything that you could ever have in Laguna, and that transforms you into a different person. Just the crew that you're surrounded by, and the type of people that are going to that kind of school and what they're after. Extremely a very strong reputation, that school of any school. It's just really, like you say, I went to Berkeley, it kind of says something. No, right? It really does. Yeah, I was baffled when I got in there, like just absolutely dumbfounded, because I didn't get into UC Santa Cruz, I didn't get into UCI, and then like but you got into Berkeley. Got into Berkeley. I'm like, well, wow. I guess I'm not surfing anymore. No, that's awesome. Well, you went there, because it's obviously not at the beach. And you went there to study environmental science? That was your known, sought-after? Yeah. Cool. That was, there's a college in natural resources there that was easier to get into than the other colleges at Berkeley. So I was like, I'm going to apply to this one and see how it goes. Yeah. And, cool. I think that's a really interesting field. I think all of us as surfers, respect whatever it takes to be part of the tribe of humans
humans that wants to kind of elevate our awareness
Yeah.
about anything to do with environmental and ocean or land or whatever, just our earth.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah.
And I feel like when I think of people coming out of Laguna Beach, I think a lot about people like that. I really do.
Stewards of the environment, for
I
sure.
do. I
There's
think
a
there's
good amount
very,
of,
very much of that there.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are very active in preserving, and Laguna is one of the most preserved areas on our coast. We have an MPA, we have a green belt, and there's a lot of beautiful nature right around us, and it's because of the people who advocated for it from day one. So
yes,
yeah, and there's another point of your product of your surroundings. You know, I think like
I agree with that.
I had a lot of those types of brains in
Around
my
you.
world, and I appreciated the beautiful beaches that we get to spend our time at every day, and the surroundings there. So I think that's probably a big reason why I went into
Cool.
environmental sciences. Yeah.
Was there a particular, if you were to go into that field, would there be a particular persuasion of that field that kind of you feel passionate about? I mean, the general, of course, but I was, it interests me to think,
I think like companies like Surfrider Foundation, or, you know, like some nonprofits that they're organizing people to do amazing efforts around the globe. I think that's something that's really, really cool, and we need more of that these days. So I guess like that would be like the goal if I were to spend all that time studying it, like eventually something along those lines would be awesome to start.
And I think you'd be a great advocate for that, just because what you've done in your life already to get attention to yourself and to kind of bring, you know, it's one thing if someone just came out of college, no disrespect for that, but if you go out in the world before you end that job and go out and make a name for yourself in your field and develop, you know, a YouTube, you know, presence.
Yeah.
And then to take that presence and actually do something with it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think that if I was running one of those organizations and you came to me with that degree and what you do, I'd be like, well, be a great spokesman for what we're doing. And you bring science?
Yeah. No.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I do some stuff for Surfrider and help with some of their campaigns here and there. But the owner of Surfrider lives in Laguna, super cool dude, and I run into him at the beach all the time, and I just admire what he does. Yeah. And
very cool.
I think all the work that he's done in his entire life is so like admirable. You know, he's really changing the planet in a positive way.
You know,
it's cool.
I'd like to get him in here. Now that I think about it, we should have a wrap with him.
Oh man, what's his last name? Forgetting his last name right now. But it's Chad's his first name. I can find him in my contacts.
Yeah, no, that'd be cool. I'd be stoked. In the same way that, you know, people kind of told, you know, mentioned you. Like, I think sometimes if people hear like a little more like, hey, I went and talked to this character down in South End, and maybe you'd rap with him. I'm just saying that kind of thing. But I just think it'd be really cool. We could do a cool episode about whatever that would be interesting along those lines. And I'm always supporting that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Usually with my actions, not as much being a part of organizations, because I feel like I'm doing my work. So everyone does, like, if you're a musician, you write a song, you know, if you're a poet or a sculptor or you're an architect, whatever you could do to bring your gift to the table. I feel like, you know, as a media producer, I feel like I can do a lot with what I do,
without a doubt. And it would be great to get his voice out there in the world. And to be behind all of us networking more and more and more, taking our kind of, in a sense, our responsibility as humans to network the angles so we make bigger power for our voice. You know, because I think we could all put together a handful of people that would do really well at that. And that's what they're doing, obviously, but we can all just keep adding to it. You with your channel, me with mine, them with theirs. We can all one day just build and build to the point where, you know, they can't let us, I feel like we should get to a point where whoever they are, because I don't really know who they are, where we would just be of such a strong voice with such an alternative vision of what the world could or should be, that it would just be hard to deny. And I think that grassroots movement, you know, really, once again, I just think your town Laguna Beach is a real home of just that kind of awareness. Without a doubt. Super stoked on that. I'll share Chad's contact with you afterwards. Cool. It would be, I think he's such a well-spoken and smart dude. So
cool.
Also science background. Went down that path a lot longer than I did. So
of course,
he's super fun to talk to. Like, I talked to him about sand and erosion of beaches and all this stuff, and he's just got so much knowledge.
Super aware. and cool apparently, right?
Yeah,
so that would be totally cool. And so now you get to a certain point and you're entering events, I want to say, or how does one?
Yeah, there's like a small tour in skimboarding. So there's like a 5 or 6 stop tour. Usually most of the, like half of the tour is in the US, and then there's a couple international events. And I did that during, like before college and a little bit during college, and did really well on the tour. I won 3 years in a row, and like there's only so much you can do, and so much, like I'm not making a living off of doing it then. It's very small cookies, and
they're not. It's but you're able to then yourself produce your program to be able to make a living because you took the reins.
Yeah.
Waiting for them to pay you because it's not really there.
Yeah, it's not there. And that's something that's always been the issue in skimboarding. Like, in surfing and other sports, there's support, and eventually, I did it for so long, and it's like, all right, I think I did everything I can do in the skimboarding industry.
In the competitive space?
Yeah, in the competitive space. Yeah. And then I was like, I want to try, something to take a different approach and see where it goes. Yeah.
You get to produce your own work. You get to some degree control your own destiny, put out the work, be in charge of your campaign in a sense, right?
Exactly.
And then build your audience organically so you don't have to ask another man or woman or whoever, can you hook me up? You're like, I'm already hooked up because I was smart enough to make it happen.
Yeah.
Not saying you would be that cocky, but you know what I mean.
No, it's nice. So there's like a super security in it too, where it's like, if I lose a sponsor, it's all good. I've got things to fall back on. I have channels that I've built and spent a lot of time on over the years, and I don't know. It's been the gift that keeps giving.
Totally.
I didn't expect it.
How long have you been doing your channels for?
About 7 years now.
Oh, okay, wow.
Yeah, I started pretty much right out of college, and it was just kind of like a for fun thing, and I
did a hobby at first.
Yeah, a hobby, and I did some how-to skimboarding videos like right before COVID, and those how-to videos like popped off, did super well during COVID. Everyone was looking for an outdoor sport to do.
Totally.
And so I'm like, man, I should just keep doing this on how-to videos, and then that kind of just turned
one
into
thing led to another.
Yeah, and I started posting travel videos and showcasing skimboarding in the best light that I could, and making it look rad, and I think it was cool. The participation in the sport, I think, grew from it a little bit. And
I would say your reputation stands very clear on that. Yeah. I think a lot of people put you on that mantle in a sense of really being able to, because you're just the way you come off.
Oh, yeah.
And the way the work is, and the way it just, I think it just made it respectable, but I don't want to say I'm weird, but kind of sexy in a sense where it's like, it just had you could buy into it because you take a guy basically we're talking about, Bill is like the guy, right?
Yeah.
For decades, right? Is there another the guy?
No, Bill's the goat of skimboarding. He's the Kelly Slater of skimboarding.
But he's so eccentric that
it's
like,
oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is great. Don't get me wrong. He is who he is, and we love him for that.
Yeah.
But then I think you come along and actually make people realize wow, you can be level-headed, you can be smart, you can be, I don't want to sound weird, you can be a good-looking guy with cool kind of Tarzan looks. I'm just saying I'm just saying on one level, I think that's appealing to an audience that you've obviously grown.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the biggest thing coming out of Berkeley was I just had people skills. I had responsibilities, the doing emails and that the
Totally.
simple thing that maybe skimboarders previously to me didn't quite get. So just the
skills,
those little things that you don't really, that's not what I went to college for, but those little silly things that I learned there and helped me significantly with what I'm doing now.
The connectivity of the communication and the drive, just the whole package.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm saying without the package itself, the product in the packaging could be great, but you bring everyone that it's just, you have this respect in your world that I hear about a lot. Way before it was even, I heard about you for a long time before I even heard that people were saying he should be on your show. I was just going, wow, who's this guy? And I think it had to do with the fact that you brought something to your sport that really opened people. I think you helped it become more respected in a way of just like the people were so eccentric before.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think like with social media and everything, I was kind of at a really good time where people were starting to post skimboarding videos and it was doing well. Like there's this guy named Austin Keene and he was kind of the first dude to like get big on social.
Yes.
From his wake surfing, he basically like was a skimboarder to begin with from Georgia. He got like super good at skimboarding, won the world tour once, and then he had to go into wake surfing to like make a career out of what he was doing and
to basically get some money.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, like
that's a pretty big sport, right?
Yeah, wake surfing is pretty big. I would say that's definitely a lot bigger than skimboarding.
Rivers and you know, there's a lot of area,
a lot more of a location, more locations to do it, and it's a lot easier than learning how to skimboard. But anyway, he like went into wake surfing and was like one of the best wake surfers without even doing it. Like he literally rode a skimboard his whole life. Rode a skimboard behind a boat and everyone's like, what the hell is like, this is insane. He's super good at it.
I remember seeing that.
And so he did like some stunts and stuff in that. And I'm like, and I was in college grinding my ass off while this guy is like building a life off of skimboarding. And I'm like, damn, stoked for this guy because he's the first dude.
He's sparked.
Yeah. He was the first dude to like make it, be able to afford to live in California and Georgia boy, moved here, made a life out of skimboarding, and I'm like, wow, this is rad. Good for him. And
I want in.
I want in. Like,
I want in.
Yeah, and
there's room.
Yeah,
because there's not a lot of guys doing it. There's total room.
No, but that's also what set the stage for like people probably started seeing skimboarding more. Well, because of social media and because of that was his presence and other people's presence.
There's another guy named, is it Brad Domke?
Brad Domke, yeah. But he was doing toe-in stuff at Puerto Escondido.
I remember the first time I saw that, I had to rewind it because I'm not sure if I saw it right.
Yeah.
I was like going,
yeah.
Is that a skimboard?
Yeah, exactly.
And isn't it true that Tom Curran does that now?
Yeah. Brad Domke got Tom Curran into it because they were down.
My God.
They were down at Salina, somewhere in Mexico.
Yes, they were. Down in that area.
And they literally
okay, don't say it because Juan Pablo might come on.
Yeah. I stopped myself trying to. But they basically like bunked up and I think they were staying at a house together for a month or something. And Domke was getting all these awesome waves on his skimboard. And Tom's like, wait, what?
I want that.
I want in on this action.
What's going on with that?
Yeah. And I think Tom.
He's so good at it. It's stupid.
Yeah.
I got to say something. I meant to say earlier, or, you know, I had my second episode with Dino and he brought up the Gotcha Pro back in the 80s. It was like, it had a point, they had something like Miley Point or whatever, but I just got it was at the Gotcha Pro. It was a heat against, I think it was Tom Curran and Derek Ho. And it was either the final or the semifinal. And it was kind of outside, you know, just real wonky. Just, you got to do a lot of navigating to get to this inside. Like it's a crazy sandy beach the way it was that day. Anyway, and Curran comes down and he's gone from way out on Essing. I don't know how he got it. He's a magician.
Yeah.
And then he comes on this wall and all of a sudden it stands up, like not on the Shorebreak, but not way outside. So it's in this perfect mid spot. Yeah. Now it's a wall. It's just about, you know, it's like 8 to 10 foot face.
Yeah.
And he's driving down the wall and he's going, whew. And all of a sudden there's a right barrel coming and he's on this left and the whole beach is packed. And we're sitting there and he's heading toward it with velocity.
A lot of speed,
like, you know, and you're going, what's he doing? He's going, so he goes into there's a full barrel coming this way at him to the right.
Yeah.
He's driving down the wall and you thought maybe he's going to come off the lip and do something. He just goes in the tube.
No way.
And we're all going,
straight into the closeout?
Just straight into the closeout.
Yeah.
But even weirder was when we all kind of went, well, whatever. I guess that's, you know, what's he smoking?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But somehow he flipped around and came out going right.
What the hell? Yeah.
And we're on the beach going, okay, I don't think he's human.
Yeah.
What? Like you wanted to see rewind, but it wasn't on a screen. And you're like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
Like he went in and somewhere in there.
He turned around
and then comes out. And the whole beach is like, ah.
That's rad.
You know, but they're also kind of go, ah.
You're like, what
is he?
Yeah,
you know, like it was a moment. It was
cool.
one of the weirdest, coolest things I've ever seen. So to see him on a skimboard down at some of those spots, and you know, different times. I've heard he's been doing it a couple times at El Cap.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I've heard some cool shit, man.
He wrote a skimboard in like an expression session with Aki.
Yeah.
On the it was a WSL event, and Tom was surfing against Aki on a skim.
Yeah.
And like he stood up on a couple waves and was just super flowy and like you can tell that he is addicted to the feeling of gliding on a board.
Yes.
Whatever kind of board it is.
You can see that.
But you get, when you ride a skimboard, like that glide is a total different feeling than a surfboard. And
no fins.
Yeah.
Right?
No fins. Yeah.
That's part of a skimboard deal.
Tom he's been experimenting with fins in the skim.
Oh, well, we'll give him the room to do that because it's Tom Curran.
Yep.
But I mean, that would,
Still, the rocker on a skim is way flatter. So it's just faster. Right? It's
flat.
It's going to be super fast. Yeah. And I think like, a lot of really good surfers, they at some point in their life they experiment with board getting smaller, rocker coming down,
definitely,
and getting flatter.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of like a proportion thing where like
it's happened in my lifetime. It happened in everyone's lifetime.
Yeah,
except if you're like Greg Knoll or something.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know if they did it back then.
Yeah,
the boards they rode back then. You're like, I remember I had this. I had a Surfboards Hawaii board. I lived in Cazador. Rick Griffin was my neighbor. And it was a 10-foot thick glass job, 5 redwood stringers, Surfboards Hawaii board. And I was a Grom. I couldn't carry it to the beach. I had to drag it.
Yeah.
I couldn't carry it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know but at a certain point, I think all us, and we look back and go, why did they think they needed so much foam?
Yeah, right.
Well, and then now you guys take it to a level, there's no level beyond the level of riding a wave on a skimboard. There's nothing less.
No, yeah.
I mean, even when Chuck Patterson did it on the water skis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the area, the spatial area,
might have been actually less than a skim.
Oh.
The skis are pretty thin, man.
Yeah.
But he did have water skis.
They were water skis. They were kind of wide.
Yeah.
But I think if you added it up, skim would be less.
Yeah.
So either way, they'd be competing for the less, but there's not too much less than that. There's no way.
Yeah.
What it's
going to
be.
Also when you learn on a surface area that's that small, when you ride anything else, it's like, instead of like throwing a dart and trying to hit a penny, you're throwing a dart and trying to hit the dartboard. Like it's a totally like your feet have so much more flexibility of where they can be.
Oh, on a bigger one,
on a bigger board.
Yeah, yeah, and you can actually really lay a rail down. And there's pros and cons. Yeah,
yeah. If you can ride a wave on water skis or a skimboard, there's something you can probably
kill it. I mean, the only thing we could see. Remember what handguns?
I don't remember that.
It's like where people body surf.
Oh, yeah, the hand planes.
I mean, I don't think we're going to see a guy, I think we've pushed it to you human beings, okay, you crazy skimboarders, okay, have actually pushed it to I don't think it can go much smaller. So I don't think we're going to see on a hand plant someone's this little thing. You're not going to, I don't think it's going to work.
No.
So we've pushed it to the wall.
Yeah, there's been a couple other athletes and bodyboarders. They've done some crazy cool like stand-up bodyboarding. Chris Taloa, he was like a North Shore guy and doing finless. I've got a lot of respect for the finless game, and that guy is a honorable mention. Like he's was charging
famous for that,
charging pipe on a bodyboard in maybe the 90s or early. It might have even been earlier than that. And
I got to say, as a surfer and a person who did start body surfing and the whole trajectory I told you about, I never did get that one. I'm you don't want to you just want to slide everywhere. That's what you want to do. I mean, but to be able to do that in a controlled way, and pull it, I don't even understand it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Blows my mind.
It's pretty
super
rad.
Talented. What I always say about people like that though is, no respect, Mr. Taloa. Okay, don't come after me. But the thing is that what would they do what would they do if they really? I would look at him and go, "Well, you're kind of handicapping yourself, but you're having fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's killer what you're doing. But if that dude could do that on that, what could he do on like a 6'2" thrust?
Yeah. I see what you're saying there, but I think part of it's like so badass that he's able to do something unique and different that's like memorable. If he rode a 6'2", he'd just be another guy on a 6'2".
That's true.
And like, he would have gotten lost in the Hawaii
Yeah, wouldn't
scene.
no one even. Yeah, he made a name for himself doing something eccentric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so did Brad Domke, and so did
definitely.
Austin Keene, so did Lucas Fink, like everyone in our there's this kid Lucas Fink. He's a Brazilian kid he's like the new Brad Domke, where he's doing big wave stuff on a skimboard.
Okay.
And just a supercharger.
A name we should look out for.
Yeah, definitely keep
Any
an eye out for
other
him.
kind of names that Cave Doctor hasn't heard of?
Oh man. I would say like those are the most
Main
prevalent guys right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Lucas is a Brazilian kid, and he's helped grow the sport in Brazil quite a bit, and it's just cool to see like people growing in the same sport that I am, but in other countries, you know.
Big time.
Yeah,
that's got to be so stimulating.
Yeah,
right.
There's a ton of skimboarders coming out of Brazil. Best skimboarders these days. The
Cool.
Brazilian storm is
they're
well
so
and
athletic,
alive.
aren't they? Every sport, when they get it, you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah,
You know, damn.
Exactly.
They race cars. You know, they do incredible martial. You know, whatever.
jiu-jitsu,
UFC.
whatever.
Yeah. Combat sports or whatever. At surfing, I mean, pretty much any. You know, volleyball. I mean, they're a force.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Their passion and their drive and their athleticism is pretty amazing. So they came to skimboarding.
Oh yeah, they're in skimboarding and they are doing damn well. Damn well. Yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Moving forward into, did I hear that you recently went to Alaska?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I got to do a little cold water surfing trip this past April on a surf charter out of Seward, Alaska. And it's with this super cool dude who he started this surf charter after,
like a seaplane?
Oh no, it's a boat.
A boat.
A boat, yeah.
Okay.
So he worked in like the fishing industry up in Alaska for a long time and had a processing plant, and he originally grew up in Hawaii, but then moved to Alaska, I think like right around 18 or 19, and went to work, started a family, didn't surf for good chunk of his life after growing up in Hawaii, and then was like, all right, I've worked hard, I've done everything I can do, and supported his family, and he's like, I'm gonna go have fun now. And he started a surf charter. It's a boat called the Milo, and he went and bought this boat in San Francisco, outfitted it to make it a surf boat, and drove it up to Alaska, and now he just runs like 6 or 7 trips out of Seward every year, and he's just the coolest dude ever. Like, I basically just go to hang out with him for a week, and if I get waves or if I see anything cool, like, it's a bonus, but he just being on the boat with him is like he's a cool dude.
Did you get good waves?
Yeah, we got insane waves this trip, which was really cool, because I had done the same trip 2 or 3 years ago, enjoyed it so much, and we didn't even get that good of waves.
Okay.
And then this time around, we get on the boat, we go to the very first surf spot, and we pull up, and it's overhead and perfect right and left point. And we're like, huh? Like, we're surfing all day for 3 days straight.
No one there.
Literally, we saw a bear. That was it. Like, it was insane. And I didn't really know that it got like as good as it was.
Wow.
And so yeah, Milo.
Oh my gosh.
This guy's name is Mike McCune. Super, super inspirational dude, and he just put us in the spot, and he's been exploring the region for 15 plus years now. And
so he knows the conditions, the spots, the variables.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, let's go around this corner. I got something for you.
Yeah,
maybe, you know?
exactly.
Sick.
And
you scored. How big again?
Oh, it was easily 8 foot on the sets. Like, solid, perfect. Like, it's a cobblestone break, so it's not like tubing barrels, but it's very rippable waves.
Oh my gosh, I love waves like that, just for the ripability. And let me just throw it in there. Just curious, temperature.
I think at times we were in water that was probably close to freezing, because we were in a glacier and trying to surf glacier waves, which is super rad. And that water has definitely got to be 39, maybe a little bit lower. But
I'm pretty sure you had a good suit.
Oh yeah, the best suits around. We've got the Isurus. I don't know if you ever heard of them.
Isurus?
They're out of San Clemente, and they make a damn good wetsuit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. I'm thinking the whole thing, that the whole thing.
Yeah.
Gloves, headgear, booties.
Oh yeah.
Eye sockets. I'm just saying,
pretty much the only thing that's showing is your eyes and nose,
Wow.
But yeah, I had 7 mil
7 mil
booties and gloves, but my wetsuit was a 3 mil. At one point I was wearing a 3 mil wetsuit and
got a little warmer.
Yeah,
sun was out, or you just got used to it.
I kind of think I just got used to it, and the wetsuits are so good that you can get away with less these days, as long as you're
30-ish water.
Yeah, the 3 mil I was probably wearing that in like 45, 46 degree water.
Yeah.
And it held up as long as you have thick gloves and thick booties. That's the first thing that'll get cold, is your feet
extremities.
or your hands. So
okay. So you get any other spots besides that?
We got the Glacier, which was super cool. We always go and spend some time at the Glacier because if you get super lucky, you basically you're at a river mouth and the glacier calves, and it'll make a wave that you can ride on the river mouth. So that's just like a crazy experience.
Glacier ripple wave from the river mouth.
Yeah, it's a super unique setup. It's
insane.
Super unique. There literally is probably not another place like that on the planet.
Yeah.
There's like a river mouth that all the snow melt from the glacier comes down this river mouth off to the side, and then it deposits all this sediment in front of the glacier, and you basically end up with like a perfect point right near a glacier that's calving actively.
Oh my gosh.
And it happens year round. Like sometimes you get huge events where like a big part of the glacier falls into the water and will make like chest to head high waves. Other times you sit around for days and you only see a 1 footer.
Oh, true.
But it's pretty rewarding. Like if you spend enough time there, you're gonna see something cool.
Yeah.
And even if you don't ride a wave, you're watching this beautiful glacier all day. And it's mesmerizing.
Isn't there guys that have a show that's about weird waves or something?
Yeah. Dylan Graves.
Yeah. Gosh, they show some. You're like, whoa, just all kind of. That sounds like we're fit into that. That might be the top. That might be the.
Dylan's been to Alaska. He's ridden a glacier wave. He's gone on this guy's boat. And so it's a small
I'm just
world.
Psychically feeling like Dylan would be part of this program. I just feel
Dylan beat me to the glacier waves.
No way.
He was there a couple years before I was there, and
sounds pretty unique. So let me ask you this. I would like to ask you, who are your top 10 surfers, but board riders, because of your background,
Yeah. Oof. Top 10, like, man, in no special order, but
no
like,
special. I don't mean like 1 through just 10 humans.
Yeah.
Or robots, whoever
I'm going to put Bill at the top of it because, there's special order. Bill goes first just because,
because he's Bill Bryan.
He's Bill, and he literally is good at everything. Can ride switch. He can ride regular.
It's bizarre.
And
how good he is.
And it's insane. I don't think there is a better multi-board talented human than him.
And he's 53, and he doesn't seem to be getting worse.
Oh yeah,
right?
And his kid's gnarly. His kid Indy.
Yep.
He's gonna be the first kid to like land a kickflip on a skimboard and ride away.
Oh my gosh.
So it runs in the blood, which is
does.
really cool. And I'd say another man, Paulo Prieto. He was a big inspiration for me in skimboarding growing up. Who else do we have on there? Paulo was like one of the style guys. Like he rode a skimboard and it looked beautiful. It looked like surfing.
Oh.
So go check him out.
Definitely.
He's got some rad stuff at Skimming Wedge and Laguna.
Paulo Prieto.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Super good influence.
Italian?
He might be. He's actually, I think he's got Chilean roots.
Oh, there you go. I can see that. Yeah.
Yep. Which might be Italian.
I mean, it's probably some original European blood that made it to Chile.
Probably,
actually.
Yeah.
And then who knows?
Yeah.
He has some pasta with the tacos.
Maybe so. Yeah, that could be.
So then we've got Bill. We've got Paulo.
Yep.
Is it Paulo?
Yeah, Paulo. Surfing wise, I really like the way Chippa Wilson surfs because it's kind of
free.
Yeah, and it's like so different than everyone else out there. He's doing maneuvers that are like more skate style.
Fully.
Also like some crossover with skimboarding where he's doing
like
shove-its and that kind of thing. And it just to me seems like it's so cool and fun to watch. You don't really know what you're gonna get. I really like Italo. Italo's just, I've known that guy for a while. His his manager was a good buddy of mine growing up skimboarding.
Really?
And yeah, I'd go to Brazil when I was pretty young, like 15 or 16, and I met a lot of Brazilian skimboarders back then and traveled with them around the world for contests and whatnot. And so his manager introduced me to Italo before Italo is who he is today. And I would like pick Italo up from the airport and drive him to go get money at the bank. And just, you know, like before he was a name in surfing, I got to meet him. And so it's been really cool to see his transformation and where he is today, being the first Olympic gold medal surfer. Mm-hmm. Just rad. Like, so
his talent,
so proud.
Just, you know, he just won the contest and the New Zealand contest, and it's just his talent. And on those Timmy Patterson boards he rides, they do something special. I mean, he's so fast and so kind of spontaneous. He's very entertaining, so I can totally relate to what you're saying.
You never know what he's gonna do.
Exactly.
And he's
real fast, twitchy kind of.
Yeah. I think like on TV is one thing, but then when you watch him surf in person, you're like, what the hell is going on? Like,
whippy, real whippy.
And you know, when he does an air in person, you're like, that thing was way over the lip, and he's landing in the flats. Like,
he's kind of an acrobat.
Oh, for sure, for sure. He's the stuff that he's done at the Brazilian wave pools, the airs, and he's gone way higher than anyone else on those wave pools. So.
He's such a little pocket rocket. He's so small and just
you
know, and then you go, whoa. But he just, I don't know. He's a very special talent. So that's really cool.
Yep. So that's what, 3 now?
No, 4.
Yeah. Okay, all right. We're almost halfway there. Grayson Fletcher.
Whew.
That kid's hilarious. Love that kid.
Wow.
And what also a fellow team rider for Icy Sunglasses. Just super talent. Like, kid grew up on a skateboard, and you can tell, you know, he's insane.
Definitely.
Yeah.
One of the world's freest, most talented, kinetic, just a rare talent for sure.
Oh yeah.
A rare talent.
Rare brain.
Yeah. Seriously, he's very kinetic. Yeah.
Super
he kind of reminds me a lot of his grandmother, Dibby.
Yeah.
He does. She kind of has that quality too.
Yeah.
Cool. Whereas like Herbie and they're kind of mellow, you know, and Nathan's kind of mellow, and I could see the Christian connection. Of course, that's his son. But yeah, he's just wired.
Oh yeah. Wired different.
And it's insane what he does.
Yeah.
I think it's
insane what he thinks to do on a skateboard. It's like, what the?
Barefoot.
Yeah. No one else is doing that stuff, you know? So
crazy, yeah.
Great
name.
Yeah.
Great. That's 5th?
That's 5th.
We're halfway there, ladies and gentlemen.
Sorry, guys.
Blair Conklin's top 10 on Talk to the Doctor, and it's cool stuff. I got to say, it's really cool stuff.
Man, and then who else? I'm going to name some Groms that I think are going to be up and coming.
Cool.
There's a kid named River that he's just been getting into skimboarding, like probably in the last 4 years. He's 8 years old. And he just started riding for Catch Surf. Epic little kid. Like, you can tell he loves it so much and is progressing so fast. And I think like what's so cool about it is everything that like I've enjoyed doing in my life. Like I see him falling right in those footsteps, and he's getting so good at it so quick, and it's just
8?
epic to watch. Yeah. 8 years old, and the kid's running circles around me and stuff. It's rad.
Very inspiring.
And another kid, Paul Carey, another Grom skimboarding kid who's he's made a name for himself on TikTok. He and his dad have this really fun, unique. It's just a fun dynamic where like his dad basically just takes him to the beach every morning, and like he films a video, and the kid's blown up on TikTok, and it's just the coolest. Like he's just a Grom who stoked Grom, and like, he's very talented. Also, like, he's just one of those unique brains that is ultra concentrated and ultra like goes down to the beach and just looks at waves all day, and he can read waves like no other human I've ever seen. Super Amazing. Cool to see his progression. And Clay Marzo, way up there on the list. Clay
Big
Marzo
time.
is insane.
Talk about thinking outside the box.
Yeah, right? For sure. He also rides for Catch Surf.
Oh, cool.
One of my longtime supporting sponsors.
Excellent.
And definitely a big reason why I've been able to ride a board for most of my life now.
Awesome. Yeah, well, hey, the people that are supporting the sport, we want to support them back, man.
Yeah, without a doubt.
They're paying with hard dollars to make sure we can live the dream.
Yeah.
Then we got to share the love.
Yeah, no, they're epic, and so is Clay Marzo. Clay Marzo's definitely one of the most talented people to step foot on a surfboard.
No question. I don't think anyone would debate that.
No. Yeah. Everyone would say this, John, but John was, he still is one of the best, if not the best surfers ever, and
yep.
I think that was a big inspiration for me. Like I always watched his films growing, like View from a Blue Moon.
Yes.
And that type of film where like I wanted to ride a skimboard like John. Like I wanted to emulate what his style was in surfing on a skimboard. You know? And impossible to do, but yeah. I still try.
I mean, the layback that he does, like say for instance down at Margaret's or something, just.
Oh yeah.
I mean, is there something is there an equivalent in skimboarding? Like, where you really actually get that kind of time
can't even make that comparison. Can't even,
it's a trip. Like,
such a big wave that he's doing a turn on.
Wow, just and so free and powerful. And,
yeah,
his name would be mentioned all the time.
Oh yeah,
and as it deserves to be.
Yeah,
as he's
for sure.
Sailing around the world. John, I feel your pain.
Yeah, yeah. I love that he's kind of, he's done I think everything he could on the tour. Yeah. Proved himself and is the best surfer competitively to this day, but he's gonna go sail the world with his family and explore new places, and it's such a pleasure to watch what he's doing and the waves he's surfing and
crazy
and the communities that he's helping with.
Do you think he's gonna come back?
I don't.
You think he's done?
I think.
I mean, competitively, he might surf an event here or there, but I mean, do you think John will come back because the way Gabriel came back this year? You think? Because I feel like the tour with Gabriel and John, one of them missing or both, is kind of missing two of the. I mean, I just feel like if John saw Gabriel and Gabriel won this year, maybe, because he's killing it right now. Would John go? You know what? I'm still young. What's up? You want some of this, Gabe?
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I don't know. I'm just getting weird.
I think that John surfs because he loves surfing. He doesn't love competition.
Yeah.
I think that people like Italo, Kelly, maybe Gabe,
they love
surf
surfing
because they love competing.
Yes, that's true.
And there is that's what's gonna maybe keep John on his boat traveling with his family over going back
worrying
into
about
contest.
beating someone.
But,
he might have already done that.
I can't say that confidently because I don't know him that well, but
sure,
I just get
intuitively,
I get that feeling from him.
That's cool.
And I can tell you right now, what he's doing with his family is probably a lot more fun than being on tour.
No
That's
question.
my guess.
But my only feeling why I say that is because, at one point you're still in the window, and at one point you're older and you go sail around the world for the rest of the time.
Yeah.
But I wonder if there's that still part of him going, that thing to go, you know what? I can still fucking beat all those guys.
Yeah,
I mean, if you don't have that in you because you've already satisfied that urge and you're sailing around the world, all I'm saying is you're still, I mean, he's what? 33, 33. I mean, he's so prime time.
Yeah.
For me, just as a lover of the sport and just someone who's just I'm just like, oh, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
you want him back on tour?
Well, I just want to see anyone who could win trying to.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So, and nothing against him, no judgment if he wants out. But, I told you earlier, I'm a track guy. I ran track in college at 37 years old.
Okay.
Qualified on the track team, sprint team, did it. Smoked kids and still had fun. But what I'm saying is that was what was in me.
Yeah.
Like I'm going, I still got some legs under me, man.
Yeah.
I just want to see if these kids, I'm going to go try out take 12 units to become eligible.
At 37?
37. And then
you went back to college at 37?
Only to run.
Just to smoke kids.
I took, a bunch of film classes just because I'm, that's kind of a.
And
then
I took some film classes at school too.
Yeah. And I go, how many do I got to, I was like, how many do I got to get eligible? Just try it for the track team. I got to take 12 units. So I go, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah.
And then I walk in to the day when you're walking in, just, the team's forming to do the, I don't know if you want to call them tryouts or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm walking in, I'm older than the coach, and they're going, what are you doing here? And I'm going, I'm just going to try out for the team. And they're kind of like, but I actually knew one of them because I trained with the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, and then I go, let's just whatever, just shut up. Just let's go run sprints. Let me see if, what you got. The cool thing about track is, don't matter what you look like. It don't matter nothing.
Yeah.
You either cross the line or you don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it don't matter nothing. And I did, and I qualified, and I ran 4 events. You know, 'cause you can
Nice.
only run 4 events, and I ran all sprints. But I'm just saying that feeling.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And in the mornings, I was doing that. In the afternoons, in the mornings, I was training with the Olympic team for wrestling.
Okay.
So I was double training.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, all I'm saying is that.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just wonder if John might have a little bit of that in him still going. And who knows? We don't know. It's only going to
Yeah.
answer in here.
Yeah.
And he's going to wake up maybe one day and go, you know what, guys?
Yeah.
I'm good. Or maybe he's going to go, you know what? Just one more year.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, I hope he does because I want to see it.
Yeah.
You know, that's
yeah.
all. I'm
Yeah.
greedy that way. I want to see, I just want to see it.
For sure.
I want to see him and Gabriel up against each other again because I think they're, whatever. I mean, there are a lot of good, you know, Griffin, a lot of guys are in the mix.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
But
I just want to see John free surfing, living his life, dude. I could care less about it. I think maybe that comes from a perspective too of like having gone through the competitive thing, and then like, man, I can have more fun and still kill it at this, like still make a living doing what I'm doing. And I think John has definitely figured that out. And I think his brother Nathan Florence, that'll be my last honorable mention.
Nice. Well, that would be your 10th.
Yeah, 10th.
You get John
yeah.
at 9
Yeah.
and Nathan
Yeah.
at 10th, right?
And I think I respect so much what Nathan Florence has created for himself and for his family, the Florence brand. I
Doing
think, like,
very well. Yes.
you know, he's probably the most relevant surfer, if not, got to be one of the most relevant surfers
On
of the
planet.
moment.
Yep.
And he is not on tour, and he is doing
And never
things
was.
that never was, and is blowing people's minds, and built a YouTube channel from the ground up.
Yep.
And is now probably helping market his company, marketing Florence better than most. And
Totally.
and I think it's just super bitchin' what he's created, and yeah, I've give it up to them because they have to build it from the ground up. There's no tour to put your name out there. There's no.
You mean for the big wave guys?
Yeah, I mean,
or just whatever, like adventure surfing kind of, or whatever you would try to categorize that.
Yeah, I guess he's comes from the background of big wave surfing,
Yeah.
but he's
so much more than that.
Yeah, he's basically a free surfer, and he's a full YouTube. He just makes incredible videos on YouTube, and it's like his girlfriend filming him, or it's
So
like
cool.
you get to feel like you're a part of his life because of how grassroots it is.
The way, the style they do it.
Yeah.
It's real experiential. You feel like you're POV with them.
Yeah,
You know, and it's it's got this feel. Yeah, that's really
very,
cool.
Very organic.
You
and
know,
then John's the complete opposite. Where like
yes.
he's putting out like movies every time he puts a YouTube video out. Like there's so much effort that goes into it, and I think they've kind of diversified their marketing techniques.
Yeah,
and,
they got the movie guy.
Yeah.
And you got the clips guy.
Yeah, and it's really cool.
I heard you say something earlier. You said you described something as super bitchin'.
Yeah.
And what I think is that super bitchin' should be like either a bumper sticker or a clothing brand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just sounds like
it's kind of an old school word.
It is. It's a very old school word, but when you throw super in front of it,
Yeah.
it just
sounds
super
pretty
bitchin'.
Yeah,
It just kind of made me think of like, I don't know. It just could be anyway. So
it's like a Laguna 70s word, probably.
pretty much, yeah. Well, bitchin' was all. I don't remember hearing super bitchin'. It's just kind of like I'm sure it was said.
Yeah.
But so we just anyway. So moving forward, anything you want to talk about? Projects you're involved in before we kind of take a left turn here. Is there anything you'd like to discuss about? I mean, we talked about your Alaska trip, or anything at all that my man Blair Conklin could get freaky with the doctor.
Yeah, well, the Alaska trip and everything that we talked about earlier goes up on my YouTube channel, which is Skid Kids.
Cool.
So it's not under my name. It's Skid Kids is the channel that I started 7 years ago, and
right out of college.
Yeah.
Yep, cool.
And that was meant. I used that name to be more inclusive of like.
Not just you.
Yeah, it could be everyone. I wanted to showcase all the talents in skimboarding, and
which is really cool,
and help the sport grow that way. And now it's evolved into some surfing, some Alaska, some
Super
Brazil,
cool.
Stuff from all over the world. But that's, I think, like one of my proudest little things that I've built, and it's the reason that I get to do what I love, and reason I get to travel and spread the stoke and the skimboarding scene, and that's kind of my goal with it, and I love doing it. So go check out Skid Kids.
Yeah. Okay.
But,
that's a great.
yeah.
That's a a real good example of people that are doing what they love to do and making it work for them, which is really kind of the premise for my show.
Yeah.
But I'd like to end with saying that, I must admit, when Bill was here, we've talked so much about Bill Bryan Beaker, that I just really feel like he deeply loves what you're doing. And I think that he's kind of he feels like a proud papa.
That's
a strange thing, But I really feel like when he talks about you, it's with reverence. Whereas I think he does love everybody, but he's still so competitive.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, man, it's crazy. I was just thinking about this the other day, but I was in one of his skim camps and I was probably 8 years old. And I remember him teaching me how to do a trick that I didn't think I could do. And I was coming up on this mental block, I can't land this. There's no way I can do that. What are you telling me to go?
What was the trick?
It was a shove it grab.
Okay, wow.
Basically spinning the board, then grabbing it, putting it back under your feet.
Skimboard?
And it's it's a kind of simple thing to learn.
Kind of like a Joe Cremo thing on a surfboard or something?
Wow. But and I just remember him being you can, literally giving me all the confidence in the world, I could do it. And then 5 years later, I'm in a final with him, and and I'm just
and you
I
do
can
it,
beat
and
him.
you beat him.
Yeah,
tell me. Huh?
And it was all because
and you beat him by the one he taught you.
It wasn't the trick, but it was just it was that confidence
that energy,
thing where it is, a lot of things are mental block, and someone has to show you that that's all in your head. And he was the guy to do that for me. And then full circle, he beat me at freaking for half my career. The guy was just working me,
smoking everyone.
Oh yeah, and super competitive,
super competitive.
Oh man, I remember him just running in front of me and not even letting me run. He was just so aggro. Everyone hated it. Everyone hated the way he skimmed in contests
because he was so wanting to win.
Oh yeah, and he won the skimboarding world tour 11 times or something crazy.
Some crazy
that
number. I thought it was 17, but whatever it was. Oh my God, it's
absurd.
11 is Slater.
Yeah.
Okay, I think he's 17.
He probably.
I'm just saying, and it's Slater's like that.
Yeah.
He just really, he just obsessed to really wants to win. And well, that's what it takes to be that guy, right?
Yeah.
So you can't put people down for being that obsessive about winning, because then they become that.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It doesn't just happen. Kobe Bryant, different guys where you go, you know what?
Yeah.
That doesn't just happen, man. That comes from extreme will and desire and just focus and right?
Yeah.
It's obsessive.
Oh yeah.
And that's positive.
Yeah. I forget how we got on that topic.
Well, I just kind of brought it up as saying that I really think that when he was here, I really noticed he was definitely the first one going, dude, you got to talk to Blair.
Yeah.
And then I'm well, I don't know if I know him. And then he's going, I'll make it, and I'm going, but the way he described it and what you do and what you're into and how good you are for the sport.
Oh, that's
honestly, he really does. He really stoked on what you do.
Oh, that's super cool.
And I am too.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
And thank you for coming on my show, my man.
Thank you for having me. Thanks
really
to Bill
cool to have you here.
for getting me out here.
Seriously.
Stoked to finally make it in here. Nice to learn a little bit more about you, and pretty killer for first time hanging out together.